I'm Reen Schwarzer, and you're listening to the Giant Sword Podcast. Microphones, activate!
Hello, and welcome to this week's Giant Sword Podcast. I'm your party leader, Nick. Joining me, as always, is Taylor. Taylor, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
All right. Things are changing around here, so
Oh,
I've been busy, stressed out about it.
good change, maybe?
Life change, it's to say.
Oh, can you reveal it, or is that for another day?
I might be moving, kind of thing, kind of change. I've just been working on that,
Oh, okay, cool.
and then
cool.
I refinanced my car, and that was fun.
Is that in quotes fun? Not really fun.
It was just a lot of things that I had to do. It was easy, but it's like, okay, you gotta do this, you gotta mail this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And I'm like, okay, why doesn't it just like go online and say refinance? Okay, done. No, it's like
Hit the refinance button.
Exactly.
It should be that easy.
Exactly. Easy. Simple.
Yep.
Other than that, I've been I wanted to do some live shows and streaming stuff.
Mhm.
But Tales of Rise came out, and I've just been playing that, and I can't stream that. I don't want to stream that at all because
You want to be immersed in the experience. Right?
exactly. I don't want to deal with everyone talking. And, I want to be like, I could go at my own pace. So that's been taking up all my time. And everyone's like, this game is like 30 hours long, and I'm like, I've killed like 4 lords, and I'm already 45 hours in. What are you talking about?
Really? Wow. I got the platinum this last week, and it took me a little under 70 hours. So I'm curious what you're doing, because I played on moderate difficulty too.
Yeah,
It's not like I played on easy.
I'm also playing on moderate difficulty, but I didn't fast travel a lot. I ran at the beginning. I ran everywhere, but now I'm just like, okay, fast travel everywhere, and I'm doing every single side quest when I get them. Except now, because all the side quests is like, oh, we got to kill the Zoogle, because every side quest is like, oh, I got to kill the Zoogle.
But they're too high level, right?
And they're like, okay, now they're 20 levels higher than me. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, that was a shock. I was like, oh, cool, time to get some side quests, and then you just get destroyed. And you can't run from those battles, so you just have to die and be like, well,
yeah.
I guess reload the autosave.
Yep. I was like, what the heck's going on here? So I just like, I guess I have to continue the story. And all I'm doing now is when I'm doing the story dungeons, because they're leveled what I'm supposed to be leveled at. I just do XP up as food. And then I just...
Oh, yeah, okay, that's smart. And then just keep the chain going, the battle chain going, so you get more experience points or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why Rinwell and Law are higher than all my other characters.
I noticed that happens sometimes too. Like other characters out-level others, and I don't know why. Because even if characters die, they like get brought back after the battle's over, and they get experience. So I don't know.
I'm just very confused. I'm like, how? Alphen has been in my party this entire game, and it's lower than everyone else. Interesting.
Who have you kind of gravitated towards as like your main combat person?
I only use Alphen.
Really? You haven't tried? Have you tried the other characters?
Oh yeah, I've played the other characters, because the arena matches are with the other characters, so I know how to play them. But when I'm playing the main game, I'm just playing as Alphen.
Are you doing that for like immersion story reasons, or do you just like his combat style?
I'm just too lazy to learn other guys, because you start out with him, right? And I'm just like, all right, I know his combos, and I know what I could do, like freaking 50 hit combos with this character, with the one set of AG, and that's easy enough for me. I don't want to relearn all the arts of every other character. I'll do that later, not now.
That makes sense. For me, the only reason I ever changed it, because I was the same way. I'm like, I'll just keep with Alphen, because he's fun. I like his style. But after a while, it started getting boring, and then I'm like, let me try a ranged character. I'm like, oh, Ridwell's actually really fun. And then I'd get bored with her, and then I'd try somebody else. So, I mean, that's what's really cool, is there is, each one is pretty different.
Yeah. Out of all the characters that I've played all of them. The one I dislike is Dohalim. Dohalim? Is that his name? Dohalim?
Really? Interesting. Why is that?
Because when he's doing his combos, he throws his, he throws his stick his
Yeah.
pole, and it like delays the attack. So I'm like, oh, I gotta wait. I can't. It's not like. And Law's fun. Law's it's like
Law's awesome. Yeah, he's
is.
super fast. He's cool.
Yeah. So now I'm. No. So okay. So I got to the fifth lord, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm at like 40 hours, for 50 hours, and I still haven't seen that new intro that Taylor told me. And I got it, and I saw the new intro, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Did you skip it?
No, I watched it.
Do you know why I told you to skip it?
I was just like, okay, that makes sense. I get it now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. It's like I don't know for sure what it means, but I see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't see what's led up to that. But I haven't gotten any to the new stuff. And I saw freaking what's it called? Spirits. They look like Ifrit and all those people. And I'm like, oh no, they're not doing this, are they? I'm not gathering the spirits.
No, I don't know.
So I saw them and I'm like, oh great. But then like all the new side quests that I'm getting, they're like spirit shrines. I'm like, what is this? Cold Steel 2?
Yeah, the post game dungeon's really weird, but it's fun. I think you'll like it.
Is that what it is? The spirit shrines or post game dungeons? Because I went into one and it was like it turned into an action game. Like I'm constantly in battle mode.
Yeah, yep. That's okay. Maybe that's not the end game dungeon, but I didn't do it until I beat the game because it's weird, right? It never gets out of the battle camera.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I was like, is it an action game now? And the monsters just took forever to kill. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did because it like lures you over there. I'm like, what's this big thing? And then you're like, oh, because those little towers that shoot the lasers, they're super annoying. They take forever. So yeah, I would wait till post game or near the end of the game because it just takes too long.
And then I went to I do all the side quests, right? So I went to this other tower. I remember there's this tower on the mountain, like on the top of a mountain, and you're like, oh, we shouldn't go there yet. So I went there and I went to the bottom. It's like Rinro was like, let's go to the top. I'm like, okay, let's go to the bottom. And so I went to the bottom. I jumped down. I'm like, okay, there's some eagles. Let's fight them. And I'm like fighting them, and I'm like, I'm not doing much damage. What the heck's going on? And then look at the level 66. I'm like, oh. I'm only level 40. I guess that's why I'm not doing much damage.
Yeah.
So I just ran and left.
Smart.
I'm getting to the point where I'm like I have money to buy all the items because items for some reason are really expensive.
Yeah.
It's like, let's fight a boss. Okay. You're gonna use 15 of your life bottles and 10 of your orange gels. Oh, great. That's like 50 million thousand gal. Just replenish that.
Gotta go fishing.
Even fishing. I don't want to hear every 5 seconds, you know? It's kind of annoying.
Oh, from Kisara, yeah.
It's just really funny. I'm like, oh, someone just made Kisara porn for those weebs out there.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've found, that's just the best way to make money, unfortunately. So it's weird that random fights don't give you money.
They give you drops, which is another thing I want to talk about in, like, you know, when you actually deep dive into this game. But that's for another time. Today, guys, we went on a little tangent there. We haven't been answering your questions for the last 2 episodes because we're talking about other stuff. So this episode is just going to be answering your questions. That's it. And before we do that, I just want to say that if you want to support us, we have links below for our Patreon and Subscribe Star. If you want to join our community, the links are also below for our Discord because that's where our main hub is. And if you are listening on iTunes, YouTube, or whatever, can you please like, comment, and give us a rating depending on where you're at, and it'll help us out greatly. So let's move on to our first question. All right. Hookah LeConk asked, have you ever played a JRPG and loved the combat but couldn't care less for the story, so you just skipped the cutscenes and dialogue just so you could get back to the fun combat? I did this with Bravely Default 2.
That's interesting. I did something in a similar way. As I was wrapping up the final characters for Octopath Traveler, like some of the characters I just didn't care about, but I wanted to do all the content. So I did that with Octopath, which has a very similar combat system. So
oh yeah, it's very similar. No, actually, I don't do that. I feel like that's like a waste of time. If I don't
skip
like
the cutscenes.
Yeah, skip the cutscenes. The only time I skip scenes is when it's like sometimes when I'm like rushing through side quests, and the side quest is like, hey, I need to be my puppy is somewhere, and I need you to find it, and then you go there, and if you fight a giant monster and save the puppy, and then the cutscene is like, oh, you saved the puppy, and I'm like, skip.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah. Most of the time, that's kind of how I was as I was like finishing up Tales of Arise. I'm like, most of these I just don't give a crap about.
Luckily, like I get in a habit of since they're voice acted, right? I get in the habit of just watching or waiting for the voice acting to, go with this, or read the text with the voice acting. So just constantly it's on auto mode. But if there's no voice acting, I read it fast. I'm like, bam, 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 bam.
Yep.
Oh man, but yeah. So I don't really. I mean, even with the most generic, stupid RPGs, stories, it's always fun to see how dumb it is. Except if it's a Time of Eternity.
I mean, if I'm playing an RPG, chances are I'm there for the story. Like the only time I wouldn't play the story, like Mega Man's sort of gotten into a bad habit of like adding story. Like in Mega Man 11, I'm like, I don't care. I'm just here for the gameplay. Like I'm just gonna skip it. So
Mega Man.
Yeah, right. There's a pit here. Make sure you jump over the pit.
Oh no, freaking no duh. I got really egregious in the X games where it's like you're just running and suddenly just the game stops and a bunch of text starts. God. It's like skip. Don't even care.
Stop it.
All right. Surreal Killer asked, "Do you want to play a game? Choose one for each: buy, rent, or banish forever. Similar to Kiss, Marry, Kill." So for Taylor, it's Persona 4, Final Fantasy Tactics, and FF7, PS1.
Ooh.
And for me, it's Tales of Destiny, Persona 5 Royale, Trails in the Sky, 2nd chapter.
Oh my god. Okay, so it's buy, rent, or banish. So basically, we can only do one of each.
Yep.
Well, you gotta marry Persona 4 because
you gotta buy.
Or buy, yeah. Whatever. Yeah, so buy Persona 4. You gotta cherish that forever. Put it on the shelf. Keep it nice and polished. Rent. This is tricky. Now, yours
is like extremely hard. Mine is like, oh, whatever. I know what to choose.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to choose, I would probably rent 7 and banish Tactics Forever, which breaks my heart. But like, I just have more fondness for 7. But it's sort of like, if you get me on the right day, I might switch my answer. But
you have to choose. You're choosing your child to kill, like one of your children to kill.
Right.
It's an awful choice. You just can't win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I bet I can guess yours, but go ahead.
Okay, so mine is Tales of Destiny, Persona 5 Royale, and Trails in the Sky 2nd chapter. It's really easy. Buy Tales of Destiny because Tales of Destiny the bestest game ever made.
Yeah.
And it never gets old for me. Rent Persona 5 Royale because that's a fun game. It's a different. I enjoy Persona. And Trails of the Sky 2nd chapter, I'll banish forever because it's Trails of the Sky. It doesn't really matter. Like I'm not like a huge Trails of the Sky fan. Yeah,
What
I've
would have
got
made that harder? If you put like a Cold Steel game in there, would that have made it harder, or what would be another game that would have been?
okay. So my thoughts on Trails in the Sky and the Trail series in general have changed over the time.
Ooh,
So it's not like god tier anymore in my eyes, is to say it that way.
okay.
So I think anything if it goes against Tales of Destiny, then it's always going to lose out. And Persona 5 Royale is a really fun game, and it has Kawakami, so it's
Hard to go against Capcom.
exactly.
But Cold Steel's got Sarah.
I know, but which Cold Steel are they going to are they going to say?
I don't know.
If they say Cold Steel 3, I'm like, I don't care. Cold Steel 1, who cares?
2 and 4 are the better ones.
2 and 4 are the better ones.
But okay, so what would have been a better third choice then?
What do you mean third choice?
For instead of Sky Second Chapter in this list, what would have been harder for you?
I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics down there.
Grandia? Maybe Grandia.
Grandia would have been hard too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Grandia would have been difficult. Maybe Rune Factory 4. Maybe around there. I think Cold Steel 2 would have made it more difficult. Cold Steel 2 and Cold Steel 4.
Okay.
But he picked Trails in the Sky, so I'm like, okay, that's good. That's fine. All right. Darisham asks, what's the best thing to get at the Costco food court?
Oh, come on. That's not even a question.
Is it not even a question? I just know that different Costcos have different items.
I mean, it's the pizza, right?
I don't know.
What would you say?
The pizza's pretty good, but sometimes you just want a chicken bake. And the chicken bake's really good. It's addicting. When you think about it, it's a chicken. It's all it is chicken, bacon, cheese, and Caesar dressing. And it's delicious.
I've never had the chicken bake.
Really?
I might have to try it sometime.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I work there, so I'm kind of sick of the pizza. I mean, it's definitely good. Like for $10, you can't go wrong.
Yep.
So, and I know there's other stuff like before this whole pandemic thing happened, there was like chili, and they changed the churros now, and I don't like the new churros. Some Costco's have hamburgers. I don't know how those are.
Hamburgers. I've never seen a Costco hamburger.
Yeah, I just don't know which one has them, but I know they exist because there was rumors before everything went down the crapper that we might get hamburgers, but we didn't.
They also have pretty good like sausages and hot dogs too.
Very good hot dogs.
So cheap. It's like $1.50 for a hot dog and a soda. It's like that's a crazy deal.
Yep. I mean, you could buy those hot dogs in the store, not in the food court. You can make them yourself. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Working at Costco makes the food court just like, no
less
more.
appealing. Yeah.
But there's definitely good stuff there to have like once a month or something like that. Shaft asks, a kid has $45 on his Steam wallet. Recommend this person on what to buy for his first JRPG experience. So this is on Steam.
That's a great question. I don't know if it's not $45. I mean, my go-to, I was gonna say
Pokemon.
Persona 4 Golden because it's only $20 and then you can get something else. I don't know if that's a good starter JRPG though, because there's a lot to that game. I mean, there's a lot of systems, so if you're not ready for it, it can be overwhelming. So
Persona, you said Persona 4. I don't think Persona would be a good one. Only because it's super weeby.
Yeah.
So it's hard it's a hard sell for someone just getting into the series.
It is. This is not the game I'm looking up right now is Monster Hunter Stories 2. And it's not $45. It's still full price. And the reason I say I think it's a good starter JRPG is it's very similar to Pokemon in that, you find monsters, you can make your own little team. It's kind of a rock, paper, scissors battle system. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy-ish. If not that, maybe like an Ease game or something. Like maybe Ease Origin or Ease 8 or Ease 9, because those are on PC.
You're going all modern. I'm saying, I mean, come on. Steam has the classic Final Fantasy games and Grandia.
Oh, you know what? You're right. They do. Yeah, I would say Final Fantasy 9 then, if we're gonna go classic. And that's
just
only like super cheap.
You know, I wish I could look up. Oh, I mean, I can actually.
Yeah, so like Final Fantasy 9's $20. I feel like that's a little overpriced, but it's still a really great game. And with all the like additions and stuff, it's
So you would pick 9 over 7?
Yes, only because it is like the quintessential like Final Fantasy game, like mages and like fantasy setting. And I think graphically it just holds up way better than Final Fantasy 7. And with like the speed up or the whatever, like all that stuff, like you can kind of play it how you want. So I would say 9, Final Fantasy 9.
And then right after that, you could buy Final Fantasy 7 because you could afford it.
It's true. You can buy both of them. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see, Grandia, $20. I would buy, yeah. Grandia
Okay.
HD, Grandia 2 HD. It's good. You get both of them. Good starter. I now know. I always say, hey, guys, play Grandia, you scrubs. Yeah, I would start off with Grandia. I know people would say like a Trails game, but I don't know, man.
I really don't think. I mean, I know the Falcom fans have it's such a dedicated fan base, and I applaud you for that. I don't think Trails games are good starter JRPGs. That's like a hardcore super weeb kind of series.
I mean, you could do Sky because Sky 1 and 2 are kind of in, you know, you can just play them too and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
I saw a
Yeah.
picture that Israel posted that said, "Oh, you gotta spend over $100 and play like 500 hours plus just to get the true ending of Cold Steel." I'm like, no, that's not no. To get the true ending in Cold Steel 4, all you have to do is do all the side quests in the final chapter. You scrubs. I hate lying memes. Don't lie to me. What else do I got? Ease. Grandia. Ooh, what do you think about Final Fantasy 12? Zodiac Age.
I really like that. It's probably one of my favorite Final Fantasies. Probably a top 5 Final Fantasy. I don't know if that's a good starter one. I would say if I were recommending a starter one, I would probably pick 10 over 12. Even though I personally think I liked 12 better, but 12 is like divisive because of the combat system, you know? So
But this is Zodiac Age, so it's not the PS2 one, which has a better battle system, right?
well, you can speed it up because basically it's like an auto battle. It's like an MMO kind of combat where like you auto attack and then you input moves as needed type of thing. I mean, if you set up your gamuts the right way, you don't even have to do anything, which is really weird. But it's kind of fun still. But yeah, I think I would still recommend 10 over 12 for a beginner.
You wouldn't want, you know. I like how we haven't mentioned any Tales games.
They're all garbage. All the PC ones, at least. I don't like Zestiria.
So there's
Symphonia, I have no reverence for. And then I really, people like Berseria. I was super bored with Berseria. I really didn't like it. I mean, if Tales of Arise was $45, I'd say buy that, but
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to bring out the other ones. The other ones are good. But yeah, Final Fantasy 9 for Taylor, Grandia for me, because that's always my answer for starting off. I would start off with Grandia every single time. Yeah. Pigeon Senpai asks, what future releases for 2021 do you all plan on playing? What is coming out, Taylor? I have no idea. And I'm being completely honest. I have no idea what is coming out.
JRPG wise or just anything?
That JRPG wise, I know what I'm getting next. I'm getting the next MechWarrior DLC that comes out tomorrow. And I got Tales of Arise, and I'm like, oh, I'm good now. I don't know what else is coming out.
Well, I can pull up a document. I can tell you exactly what's coming out.
Taylor and his documents. Gosh.
Yep. All right. So stuff that is still coming.
This year.
This year. Yep. So we've got Astria Ascending, which it's made by the people that did Super Neptunia RPG, which was okay. But it's from, I think, the writer of Final Fantasy VII, Nojima. And then I think it's got a pretty prolific composer too. To me, I can't get a feel for what that game, like the game flow is. So I'm hesitant on that one. There's the Caligula Effect too, which is sort of like, people call it Persona-ish, but I would hesitate to call it Persona-ish just because it takes place in a school. But it's got this like interesting turn-based combat system where like you can like play out your turn before you actually execute it to see if it works out the way you want.
Astria Ascending. Sorry, I'm going back to Astria Ascending. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
And that's the one that looks like Valkyrie Profile, right?
Yeah. Yep. But the game I'm playing a game right now, so I don't know if this answers his question, but I'm playing Kenna Bridge of Spirits right now. That game is gorgeous. I haven't played too much of it, so the gameplay is a little simple, but it's really...
Oh, we lost Taylor. It's a little...
in Second Light.
There you go. Okay, so we lost you for a second, so you can repeat.
How much did you miss?
You're talking about Kenna, and then you're like, it's a little, and it stopped.
The little...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, Kenna's... It's gorgeous, but it's a little simple in terms of gameplay. But having fun with it. I heard it's really short, so
10 hours.
I mean, I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah. So there's that. But yeah, Blue Reflection Second Light. I'm excited for that. That should be fun.
All right.
That's like the next game. And there's Matt in the background.
Don't worry, we can't see him.
Okay. And then yeah, so Blue Reflection Second Light is from the same developer that does all the Atelier games. So it's like that is sort of like Persona, where it's like Persona, but they, instead of going to the other world to do all the combat stuff, it's they go to another world and everything's there. Like you do your school life in this other world. And it's like it's like an all girl cast, and it sort of has like magical girl vibes, like Sailor Moon kind of. I'm excited to check that out. Oh, one game I'm super excited to play is Advance Wars Reboot Camp. I've never played an Advance Wars game, but they're remaking Advance Wars 1 and 2 for Switch. And so I'm like, all right, I'm down. I want to try this out. So Advance Wars, yeah, definitely want to try that out. And then I think
I'm gonna be interested in what you think about that.
Okay, because you played the original, right, on Game Boy GBA? Because it's, I mean, I
was a little wee lad, and my brother, I don't know how, but he got a Game Boy Advance from, I think, from my grandma. I didn't get one until the next year, but yeah, so he got one, and I think that was the first game he got, was Advance Wars. And I just remember I have a very, very vivid memory of me playing the PSP, the Game Boy Advance and Advance Wars on candlelight. So there's candlelight, and there's a storm going on.
It wasn't backlit.
It's not backlit. So there was a candle on because the power is out because there's a storm going on, and I was just playing Advance Wars. That is just so 90s and early 2000s. I love it. People have no idea, like the younger generations have no idea how that worked back in the day. I go back and I have those consoles still. I'm like, how did we play games on this? This is a pain.
Terrible. Yeah, it's awful. Every time I go to my grandpa's house to visit, he still has his old Game Boy with Tetris and like a Ninja Turtles game, and I try to play it, and I'm like, I can kind of see what's happening. It's real bad, yeah. Um, and then I guess the only other game I would say that I'm possibly interested in is Shin Megami Tensei 5. I didn't really like the Nocturne HD remaster, but people have been saying they've slowly been getting more approachable since then. So I might check that out. But
Yeah, yeah. People have been asking us questions about games that I've never played or series that I've never really delved into, and I know that you haven't really delved into. I'm like, sorry, you can't answer these questions because we just have no experience with them.
There's only so much time, and we can only play so many games.
Oh yeah. I still have, yeah. I don't know. You pick a game that you think I would enjoy out of the list that you have. Because right now I have no games on my like in the future. I'm not thinking of anything else.
That's a good. Well, there's also Super Robot Wars, which is a strategy RPG, and it's all mecha from anime and stuff. So you might be interested in that.
Yes, that's very fan servicey. I know that series.
Yeah.
Have you seen the stuff that they show?
Yeah, I mean, are you talking about like literally like with the girls, or like fan servicey, like they're showing a lot of like robot stuff
With the girls?
Oh no, I haven't seen that. No.
Okay, I gotta show you. This game is crazy. It's just like,
yeah.
Okay. You played Project Cross Zone, so you know some of the Carol characters in that game, right? Yeah. And do you remember whenever you do like the super moves, it does like the animation and you like close up on their boobs and stuff like that?
Oh, sure. Okay,
yeah.
so stuff like that.
Stuff like that. It's just like, okay, I get you.
Oh, okay. So I got a game that I think you might like, and I don't know if you played this. This is the Switch release, but it's already out for everything else. Did you ever play Dragon Ball Z Kakarot?
No.
Do you have any interest in that game?
No.
Really? Because you always would buy the Dragon Ball fighting games.
Yeah, fighting games. I wouldn't get the other games because they're usually just cash grabs, and they're really simple and boring. Like Xenoverse. You remember Xenoverse?
Yeah.
It was very, very simple and boring. I like the fighting games, but yeah. Why? Kakarot is you tried it or something like that?
No, it comes out for Switch this week. So I was just like, oh, I know Nick likes Dragon Ball. Maybe he'd like that. Yeah, the rest of the games I'm looking at, they're kind of. There's Pokemon. I know you don't really like Pokemon. Yeah, I just don't think there's anything that's coming out that you would dig. I don't know.
Nothing that's on the radar right now. I just have to wait until it comes out close, like when it gets closer to its release.
Yeah. I mean, 2022 should be pretty darn interesting. I mean, I have a list already, but like Granblue, Fantasy Relink, Digimon Survive, Trails from Zero, although I think you've already played that.
Played the first one, yeah. I still have the Azure to play, but as I said, Trails is not on my god tier list anymore. Just it lost its appeal a little bit.
Okay, here's a game. I think this comes out early next year. Have you seen anything about that game called Monarch?
No.
So it's like apparently old Persona people and NIS America's publishing it, and it looks Persona-ish. I would look that game up. I think it's just called Monarch. I don't think it has a subtitle or anything. I think you might like that.
Oh, there's so many games named Monarch. Oh, good.
Yeah, I think it's just literally called Monarch. And then Metal Slug Tactics. That game looks sick.
Oh yeah, that game. That's actually a game that's on my radar just because of Metal Slug, and it just reminds me of pizza places. Pizza. Going to Round Table Pizza and playing some Metal Slug. I bet you're missing that. That's not
Round Table Pizza.
That's not South Carolina.
No, it sure isn't. It's that crust, man. It has super good crust.
Very unique. All right. So Spaghetti asks, are either of you interested in getting the Steam Deck?
Interested? Yes. Do I want to drop that amount of money for it right now? No. I'd rather buy a PS5.
Oh, you don't have one yet.
If I was like rich and money wasn't an issue, hell yeah, I'd buy it. But
What's the price on it?
that's a good question. Steam Deck prices. I want to say it's like in the $500. Okay, so it's $399 for the 64 gig version, $329 for the 256 gig version, and $649 for the 512 gig. So it's pretty pricey.
Simple, and it's just play Steam games with the controller.
It's basically a Switch,
but
it's
for
a PC Switch. Yeah.
I'm not interested in getting the Steam Deck. I mean, I would have, like, I wouldn't go out and buy it. Okay, let me rephrase that. If I had a chance to play it and mess around with it, I would be interested in it. But I'm not interested enough to actually go out and buy it. Because it's like,
not for that price, right?
That price is all right. It just takes a couple paychecks to save up for it. But I have a PC, which is what I'm on right now, and I'll play on that. And I have my laptop. I don't need another handheld PC, you know. And what am I gonna play on it? MechWarrior. MechWarrior.
Tails. I mean, you could buy the PC version of Tails and play Tails handheld.
That is true.
Here's my next venture into handheld gaming that I'm thinking of trying. So, have you ever heard of the Backbone?
Wait. Is it just Steam, or is it an actual computer?
No, it's an actual computer. They even said that it literally just runs Windows, I think. So you could open like the Epic Games Store. You could run emulators.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah.
Actually, now if I could actually run emulators, now I'm actually kind of interested.
Yeah, you can get Dolphin on that thing.
Ooh. I'm gonna go buy it right now.
There you go. No, but I was saying, I think what I'm thinking next for handheld. Do you know what the Backbone controller is, or have you heard of that?
No, actually, I haven't.
So it's basically a controller that wraps around your phone. So like it's like a controller, and you can like stretch it and then plug your phone in and then click it back in, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking of getting that and doing like some remote play, or like Genshin Impact is available mobile, you know, and my phone can actually play like high fidelity games now. So I'm thinking of getting that. That's only like $100. So I have some buddies called they have a channel called Complete Geek TV, and they're doing like they're planning a big comparison video where they're doing like they're getting all those like controllers for your phone, and they're doing like a big comparison video. So after I watch that, I think I'm gonna buy one of those. Nick was disgusted.
No. I get why you would do that. I'm sorry. I was just thinking back in the day where we used to sell Android tablet controllers for, you know, in GameStop. And I'm like, did those just like stop being made? And now they're really hard to find?
Good question.
Because there's some like cheap controllers that connect Bluetooth, right? And they're like $20, and they get the job done. So I don't know. I
think all the controllers now, you could. I mean, at this point, you could just hook up like your DualSense, like your PS5 controller. I think, if you really wanted to.
Okay, sorry. I'm looking at the Steam Deck, and I don't think I need to get all the details on it. Smashmas asks, the FF7 remake DLC seemed to do pretty good. Well, giving us a little more to chew on while waiting for part 2. What else would you want to see as an intermission DLC?
I've actually thought about this a lot.
All right.
So my theory is that part 2 of the remake is going to end at Nibelheim, and in the original game, that's where you find Vincent. So that is like, first of all, I think that's a perfect stopping point for the story.
For somehow Vincent's in Midgar now.
In Midgar?
Yeah.
Oh no. Here's what I think. I think they might do some backstory on Vincent because I mean he got his own game, right? He got Dirge of Cerberus. So I'm wondering if they'll give Vincent some more backstory and do like a Vincent DLC leading up to him going into the coffin. I don't even know if that's how they're going to introduce him as a character in this because that's kind of goofy the more I think about it. But yeah, I think they're gonna do. I think they'll do a Vincent DLC thing between part 2 and 3.
Oh, so not another one for the remake, but for part
No,
2.
not in between. Not yeah, not in between. I think part 2 is coming next, and then it would be like a Vincent DLC.
So what else would you want to see in part 1? If they do one. If they did one.
What do you mean?
Because
if they didn't?
Because you haven't actually played Intermission, have you?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, what else? Like, what story would you like to see? Side story would you like to see in part 1?
If I'm not mistaken, and this could be me screwing up my Final Fantasy VII lore, I think Vincent was in the Turks at some point, like way back in the day. So, man, I could be wrong about that. I'm gonna look this up because people are gonna roast us in the comments.
Roast you.
Vincent in the Turks. Okay, yeah. Well, Vincent, he was a Turk. Yeah, okay. So that would be kind of fun. That'd be kind of fun to get like maybe a backstory on Vincent when he was a Turk. You know, something that's not necessarily like super tied into the story, but it could be like parts leading up to when he would join the party or whatever. So that would be kind of interesting because I like what they're doing with the Turks in this new in the remake series.
So they should add a DLC that's before Crisis, pretty much.
Kind of, because we never got that in the West. I don't think. I think that was only in Japan, and I mean, if you dug, I'm sure somebody has figured out a way to play that or whatever. But yeah, it's not easily playable or whatever.
You know what's actually really funny?
What's that?
I don't know. It kind of slipped my mind. I hate when that happens. It was something Final Fantasy, and I totally forgot about it.
Basketball, super funny movie.
Yeah, that's actually a very funny movie. Basketball, very early 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh, what else? What was I saying? It was something about the Final Fantasy VII.
War Crisis, the Intermission.
Oh, okay, I remember now. I was gonna say, you know the scenes they show of Zack?
Mm-hmm.
People who've never played the original Final Fantasy VII, right, will be like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, and they're making it seem like he's a very integral part of the story. And I'm like, okay, what they should do is do like a short version of Crisis Core.
Mm-hmm.
They give him like a sort of backstory.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I could see them doing that.
So it's like, oh, that's who the black-haired Cloud is.
Yeah, I can't even imagine playing this for the first time and not having played the original game. I think people would be so lost.
All right. Shaft asks, if you are a boss fight, what will it be? How do you look like? And how will the environment and theme song be?
That's interesting. I have to think about that.
So it'll be mine will be like a dark, decrepit cathedral. And I'll be like a normal dude, and then I'll become like a monster like Quaglin from freaking Final Fantasy Tactics. And then it'll be the same song. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Dun 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 dun. Then my main move was I rip open my stomach and it casts Doom, Sleep, Nightmare, Poison, Confuse all in like one move.
That sounds fun. And annoying to fight.
Like I could totally see him like, it's like, what do you want? Go away. And then it's become that thing. We lost the Taylor, but it actually there you go. It's a perfect picture of Taylor, just smiling like that.
Oh no.
Your camera froze, dude. There you
I don't know why it does that.
go.
Last time where it would sort of just cut out randomly.
I think
Sorry
it's probably the internet has kind of messed it up a little bit. But yeah. What about you, Taylor?
So mine would be like almost the opposite. Like I could picture my battle being in like this like I emerge from like a waterfall and like I'm fighting in this like I wouldn't call it a pool, but it's like a super shallow pond and I'm like a water bender. So I'm like constantly swirling water around and making like animals and shapes and just blasting water at people and I'm like the waves pick me up and stuff like that. So and then the music would be like some kind of Dragon Force song. Yeah, that would be my boss fight.
No, I want it to be like you have like 5 forms. And every like form, like at first it starts off with like a really slow, methodical guitar riff, right? But by the end, it's like, and like you're like flying through space or something.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And I think one of your abilities is called like My Taste, and it just confuses the entire party.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That's really good. That's funny.
Okay, so the next,
It confuses them and paralyzes them. They're like, "What?"
it's like what? I can't think. It's like what? He likes this game, but he doesn't like this game, but they're the same game. Ah!
It's funny.
Hookah Lakunk asks, I think you guys would agree we live in a time where brand new JRPG IPs almost never happen. Almost all new JRPGs are part of a long-running franchise. If we were to get a new JRPG franchise in the near future, what would you want it to be like? Action or turn-based, sci-fi or fantasy, etc.
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like I'm sure you want to talk about being confused. You're gonna be confused hearing me say this, but I feel like most of the big franchises are going action. So I feel like to balance that, we need to influx it with more turn-based. So I think the combat would have to be turn-based.
Now I'm confused.
What
would it be though? Like what would the theme
something
be?
like, I mean, my default is always like Octopath Traveler or something like that. Like I just like that system so much. Maybe with a little bit more like dedicated roles or something instead of like being able to change it in and out. But yeah, some kind of turn-based system with like follow-ups and storing up turns. I think they really found something interesting there. And then of course, my favorite setting is tropical setting. So I think the setting would be whatever Chrono Cross is, something like that. I think it's more fantasy, I guess. But yeah, it would be. I love that it's just like everything is like an island, and you have to take boats to get everywhere. Yeah, I would love something tropical, oceany like that. That would be awesome.
So I've had enough action games for a while, right? Turn-based, but I want it to be unique turn-based, like what we used to get in the PS1 era, where like every turn-based game had like a weird gimmick. Like Legend of Legaia or Xenogears or Legend of Dragoon or even Chrono Cross. So they could do something nowadays, they could do something that makes it really like engaging and snappy and cool. And I want it to be sci-fi, giant ass mechs. Oh, yes. Oof. I want some more. I want some more Xenogears battles. Some gear battles. But yes, giant mechs, and I want the world. I don't want. maybe not like a whole galaxy to explore, maybe like a solar system that had different maybe like Tales of Arise where it's like 2 planets. And I want a couple scenes where it's like very dark and very horror like.
Mm.
You know. Like the scene when you're in Shinra building and Sephiroth is around and there's this like blood everywhere and you're just like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah. I dig.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. I want a giant mech. I want a giant mech JRPG again.
I want a tropical JRPG with oceanside towns and just lovely tropical music.
Okay, so in your game, would it be teenagers, young adults, actual middle-aged adults?
No, that's no fun.
That's no fun.
Yeah, I mean, keep it young adults. Like early mid-20s. That seems to be the perfect age range. Maybe somebody a little bit older, like because you know what's so funny about JRPGs? It's like the old fogey, and they're like 32 or something. That's
like, the funny thing about freaking Arise. I was looking at the ages of everyone, right? And Kisara is like a mother figure and very motherly. She's only 25. It's like, oh, okay. Jeez. Okay. What would the theme be? What would be the main baddie? What's going on in your world?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It could be, would you have super JRPG tropes just to have some fun?
Possibly.
No, I would love for your game to have a ghost ship because it just fits.
Oh, you gotta have a ghost ship.
A ghost ship in yours, and mine could
be
on
the ghost ship is a fighting tournament. To really
that's too far. You went too far there. You went too far. You too far. It's too far. And let me guess, when you're done with the tournament and you leave the ghost ship, your hometown is destroyed. Mm-hmm. Okay.
See, here, how about this? Your hometown is the ghost ship. No.
Your home? No. Okay, so you live on a giant boat, right?
Yeah.
And you leave for an adventure and you come back and somehow your home has become this ghost ship because it's from the future and it's been like, and then you go onto it and then you're like, why'd you leave us? And then like somehow there's a fighting tournament going on in there.
And the person that runs your fighting tournament, your childhood friend.
Who's really mad at you, but really loves you.
Exactly.
And then you win this fighting tournament and you're like, and she's like, you know, I've always loved you. Thanks for coming back. And then she just disappears. Mm-hmm. And you cry. And then no. So this is your JRPG, right? Yeah. You're the main character, Taylor.
Yeah.
She disappears and then you turn around and like, yeah, she's cute and all, but she has this one thing that's really annoying. I just didn't like it. It's like I just can't go out with this girl.
Can't do it.
Can't get in my way.
Oh man, that's funny. So what? I think it would be kind of cool to have maybe there like something about. I always like I don't even know if this is a trope, but it's like fantasy setting meets like super advanced technology. So it might be kind of cool if there was a Atlantis-like city, since like everything is an island, you take boats everywhere. It'd be kind of cool. Like, oh, there's this mystery of the long lost city in the ocean or something, and so like maybe you're trying to get there or something, and then
you go there, and then you accidentally touch a button that activates this machine that starts taking over all the other islands and like destroying them, and you have to stop it somehow.
I like that. Because it's like it sucks you in. It's like, wow, this game is so pretty. All these towns are amazing, and then it just destroys the towns. So it makes you want to really kill the thing.
Yeah.
Build motivation, you know.
Exactly. But then it it flips the script, right? It actually destroys the whole world, and you have to live in a post-apocalyptic world afterwards. And you're like, well, we stopped it, but everything else is destroyed, and we got to start over.
Like Waterworld, we're gonna be drinking our own piss now.
Yeah, there you go. A game where you actually lose.
No,
How?
that's not fun.
No, I'm just saying, how would they do that? Someone has to do that once, where you fight the final boss and you stop him, but his plan still goes through and you just can't stop it. And then you have to live. The sequel will be you guys living and trying to move on or trying to recover from what he did.
Let me tell you about a game called The Last of Us.
That's not the same.
The second game is man, I hated the second game. You didn't play part 2, did you?
No, I didn't even. No, I haven't touched like any of none of the PlayStation exclusives.
Please.
Ever since PSX 2018, PlayStation is dead to me. Ever since we were at the front of the line, and they're like, nope, no more room, and we had to watch it in the front of the line. And we're like,
oh, that was it.
Done. It's done. Yeah, I don't know what I would do with. I don't know what kind of story I would do with.
Aliens are invading, and you got to destroy the aliens with your mechs.
There's an alien race, and they're trying to take over my planet, and they're actually. No, I can't do that. They're called the Clan.
And also, your mechs can also transform into jets, okay? And then these aliens that you fight, the things they fly are huge because the people that are flying those, they're really big.
Okay, I know you're trying to do Robotech and Macross, but obviously, since we're from America, we're talking about Robotech.
Yeah.
Okay, Isuel asks, what's a paperweight gaming item you have bought? How much was it? For me, it was a Zim 2 for $100, less than 15 minutes used.
Well, right now, it's Persona 5 Royal, because I bought it and just put it on my shelf, and I haven't played it. Still in the plastic.
Oh, just think about it this way, Taylor. Once you do play it, you're going to be like, oh man, this game's great. Because you haven't played a Persona 5 game in a while.
I know. That's the thing. It's not that I don't want to play it, but it's like I got to play stuff for review, and that game's like over 100 hours long. So it's like I got to have some time to dedicate to playing it.
It's like you have to play it for like an hour a day, or like even this 30 minutes a day, and that's it. That's all you have time for. And you're like, nobody wants to play a JRPG like that.
Exactly. Especially Persona, because like it's so addicting. It's like, just one more thing. Just one more thing. Shit. It's 2 a.m. now.
Yeah, I ran into that. Paperweight. I bought an Xbox One fighting stick, and I don't have an Xbox One.
That's funny.
So I guess that's a paperweight. How about the Titanfall Collector's Edition for the Xbox One? And I don't even have an Xbox One. Don't know.
Ooh, I can sort of match you there. I have the I guess it's the collector's edition of The Last Story, and I don't have a Wii or a Wii U.
Me too. But I have a Wii U. I have
you
a
can
Wii
still
U.
play it.
So I could definitely still play it. How about all the Disgaea games that I bought and haven't opened? I don't know why I buy them. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're bad. I just don't play them for some reason. Just don't feel like I want to play them. I don't know why. My PS5, giant paperweight.
I'll buy it from you.
No, I'm playing Tales of Arise on it. Thank you.
Well, it's not a paperweight. You're using it.
I mean, I bought it like months ago, and I didn't use it at all. And when Tales of Arise came out, I started playing on it again. I was playing Guilty Gear on it, but then I bought it for the PC, and I started playing it on PC only. So, yeah, I'm just having it as a console. Once I move out, the PS5 will be in the front room.
Gotcha.
Last one. Sticky Rice asks, can you guys discuss the evolution of longer running game series and how they've changed overall? Examples, Final Fantasy 1 to Final Fantasy 15 or Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Also discuss how long-time running fans and communities have adjusted to the change, and how newcomers see and view these games.
Oh my god, I feel like this could be its own podcast.
Right? It's a good final question.
I mean, I'm serious. Like, I don't know if we're gonna be here a while. I mean, obviously, like the simple answer we
could do the sticky notes version of this question.
The sticky notes version, the Cliff Notes version. I mean, obviously, Final Fantasy has gone action. Like, I don't think they're going back. I mean, it started with 15, and then 7 Remake obviously is action. 16 is going to be action. But I think that's why they created like Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler and stuff. So it's like, all right, here's where we got to take this series, but we still have turn-based if you guys want that. And how have fans adjusted to that? I think Final Fantasy, I think they've been okay with that change. I mean, it's not like everybody hates it. I think people are reluctantly accepting it because the games are still really good.
Except 15.
Except 50, yeah.
People were pissed off, and we are them. We are part of that group of what they did with 15. And I remember when I was playing Final Fantasy 7, I was like, the remake, I was like, this is what Final Fantasy 15 should have been.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that game needed like an extra year or two to really do everything it wanted to do.
And they made a bunch of dumb decisions, like separating the story into 3 different
movie
media.
That was weird.
Okay, so the changes of like the Tales series, right?
I mean, that's been pretty consistent. I mean, they kind of have kept the same formula for a very long time.
I mean, it's the same formula even in Arise, which is a discussion I need to talk to you about. I'm saying, so at the beginning, the PS1 era and the Super Nintendo era, it's like, okay, there's like one style, and they kept evolving, they kept changing. And then the PS2 series, there was 2 teams. There was the Destiny team and the Symphonia team. Symphonia team was the one doing all the 3D ones, except for Legendia, that was the Soul Calibur team. And Destiny team was doing all the 2D games, all the good ones, that we didn't get in America. And when the PS3 era happened, those teams merged. And that's when you got Tales of Hearts, Tales of Graces, Tales of Xillia, Tales of Zestiria, Tales of Berseria. And if you notice that all those games were extremely similar with the designs and everything. Like, the character designs, they seem like they're in the same game.
Yep.
But then Arise came and they totally changed it up. So,
yep. I mean, I'm in the camp that Arise was the shot in the arm the series has needed for a very long time. And I think that's reflected both in the reviews and the sales. I mean, it's already sold 1 million copies, and it's been getting great reviews. So I think this was totally the right move. But I don't know. Do you agree? Because I feel like you and I look at the Tales series a little bit differently. Like, I know you're a bigger fan than I am, but we've both played most of them.
I've beat most of them. Difference, man. Different. Okay. From a big Tales fan perspective, I'm not going to give away what I want to talk to you about. Game's great. The game's really good. The game's really fun. But I don't get the reaction, really. I'm going to say that. Like, I don't get the reaction it's getting at all.
Okay.
It's like, I don't get why it's doing it, so I don't know why it's getting this huge fanfare when it's a Tales game. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Yeah, I think that could be its own podcast right there.
So, like, I have a lot of experience with Tales games. And right before I started Arise, I beat Tales of Eternia. So I was like, okay, I played a classic one, and now I'm playing this one. And then I'm comparing it to Berseria and Zestiria, and I'm like, wait a second, what? Something's not adding up here. And how longtime fans and communities have adjusted to the change in newcomers and stuff. So the old Persona fans hate Persona 3 fans, and Persona 3 and 4 fans hate Persona 5 fans.
And Persona 5 fans don't know that there's a Persona 1 and 2.
They probably don't even know if there's a Persona 3 and 4.
Yeah. They're like, Persona 5 was the first one, right?
Yeah. That's what it's like. It's the same. It's like the same. I mean, they don't really hate each. I don't know. I think they hate the whole mindset where they're like, oh, this is 3, 4, and 5 are the only Persona games. They kind of have the attitude where I kind of hype up when I say Symphonia is the worst game ever, because everyone acts it's like the first Tales game when there's like 4 other games before it.
Yeah.
I joke around with that because like I actually ran into this where the fans of Symphonia would say like it's the best game ever, it's the best game over, and then I would talk to them and show them the other games and like, what is this? Is this a Tales of Symphonia like sequel or anything? This is bullshit. Why is it 2D? It's like, really? So I get that. I get how there's different time periods of fans, and I don't get why. I mean, if you like a series, why don't people go back to the classic? Go back to the old ones. Like you're not gonna like all of them. It's for sure. Like Taylor, try and go and play Tales of Fantasia, the Super Nintendo version. Just try it. It's hard.
It'd be tough, yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, I could do it, but some people can't. And for some reason, in people's minds, when people can't play the game, they say, "Oh, it sucks." Oh, it's the worst. It's awful. It's like, no, it's a different time period.
No, and I think that's a really important distinction. It's not that game sucks. It just doesn't do what you got out of other games, right? Like if I play Arise, I'm playing Arise for different reasons than I'm probably playing Fantasia. And that probably sounds silly because like at the core level they're kind of doing similar things, but like they're also probably doing different things also. So and so it's like, okay, so the question you're saying, like, how do longtime fans and how do newcomers see these games? You know, I would say I think Final Fantasy fans have been the most well adjusted over time because whatever they want, there is something for them. Like, you know, for people seem to love 14. They keep getting fed with expansions and new content. That's great. We get new sequels, we're getting remakes, you know, there's side games. So I think there's a little bit of everything for Final Fantasy. I think the most volatile for sure has been Persona, because there's those old, like you said, Persona 1 and 2 fans that hate what they did with Persona, and I think they're just salty because the other ones are popular. Like, sorry, I think Persona 3, 4, and 5 are just better games, like straight up. Like they're more fun, they're more playable, the characters are more interesting. And then Tales, I think, has been the most consistent as far as what it does. Like, it doesn't radically change from game to game like a Final Fantasy does. And same thing with Dragon Quest. I think Dragon Quest has been very slow to evolve, maybe to its detriment. So, yeah. So I think Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest have been the most consistent, just because, or not consistent, excuse me, but I think the fans have been the best adjusted. Because I think Dragon Quest fans, they're like, people, we love this game. Why don't more people love this game? And I think they finally, I'll say this: I think this generation has been a generation of certain franchises breaking through. Like Persona 5 was the breakthrough Persona game. Dragon Quest 11 was probably the breakthrough Dragon Quest game. I think Tales of Arise is the breakthrough Tales game. You know, and I don't know if that's just because more people are playing games now, or these games are better. I don't know what the reason is, but there's just been a lot of breakthrough games this generation, which I think is cool because it, you know, introduces new people to the genre.
It does, but then it also brings the awfulness of fandoms.
Just stay away from it. I
Yeah.
just ignore some of that stuff, and I'm just like, I mean, I get a little bit, I get more of it because I have a YouTube channel. I talk about these games, and I get like, I mean, I was telling you a pretty nasty comment I got on my Tales of Arise review, and people were like, "Wow, this guy thinks Arise is the best one. I think it's the worst one," like crap like that. And
It's obviously
like,
not
okay.
it's obviously not the worst one, guys. Come on.
Yeah. And then like my favorite is like, "Wow, you clearly haven't played like any Tales games," and it's like, I've played pretty much all of the ones that have been localized, except Fantasia and Legendia, and like that's pretty much it. But I've at least played the other ones.
Mm-hmm. You have messed with them. It's true.
Yeah.
But Arise is so different, but at the same time, so the same.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see how the fans, react to the other games. The new fans, I should say. I hope that we don't start seeing Tales of Rise, who would you ship kind of questions soon.
Oh, those are already happening.
Yeah. Guys, the canon ones are already there, all right? They're already there. Get over it. It's in the skits. You could see it.
I'm shipping Outlaw, okay? It's all about Outlaw.
You know that exists.
Somewhere. Yep.
He's underage, guys. There's only one girl he could be with. Duh.
Jeez.
Live with it. All right. So, yeah. That is going to be the final question of this podcast. Once again, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join our community, or if you want to support us, of course, you can join our Patreon or Subscribe Star. Taylor, thank you so much for joining us again, or joining me again on this short notice.
We were trying to make this a shorter episode, but I think this still ended up being an hour.
It's an hour, but our last two episodes have been an hour and a half. So, first, or actually last, Taylor, chill your latest episode, your latest video on your YouTube channel.
I mean, I didn't put a video out last week, but I did record a Tales of Arise spoiler cast with this guy Jay. I mean, his channel is literally called JRPG. I'm just like, that'll come out this week.
How dare you, Taylor? How dare you? You guys and your review copies.
Just gotta play faster.
Yeah, play fast. Gotta play like usual. Skip everything and somehow be past where I am, even though he started yesterday.
Yep. I mean, when you skip the cutscenes, that'll happen.
I'm that guy. Anywho, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back next week. See you later.
Later.